There's a saying, if you follow your passions, you'll never have to work a day in your life. If you do what you love, you'll never have to work a day in your life. I've come to realize that this is false. There is sprinkles of truth in there, but I think part of that perspective sets you up for failure. And that's what I wanted to come on here today and talk about. Let me make this very clear from the get-go. I am still an advocate of being in the pursuit of things that you love as a means of sustaining yourself financially, as a means of finding purpose and living a life of passion. However, if you take the perspective that doing what you love will lead to you not having to work a day in your life, you're going to run into some trouble there. And I think this is actually a big obstacle for people trying to find what they're passionate about and what they love. Because maybe they'll enjoy something, they'll really like it. Take music, for example. I don't know, maybe you're a musician and you're thinking about trying to develop a career in music, but learning those really difficult songs sometimes, you don't love it. You're like, well, this is hard. I don't love this. It feels like work. Must not be my passion. Must not be what I love more than anything, because it feels like work sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. Other times, once you learn the music and you access the flow state and you get to play beautiful music on a whim and really feel it with your heart and soul rather than having to actively be using your brain to learn it, well, then it feels like magic, feels wonderful. No matter what it is, it's going to feel like work sometimes. Even if you love it and you're passionate about it, it's going to feel hard. There's going to be a part of you that probably wants to take a step back and just procrastinate. It's going to feel like work sometimes, even if you love it. If you're pursuing anything to a degree where you can make a career out of it, you're trying to excel to a level that is far beyond average. So it's going to be very difficult. It's going to feel like work. It's going to feel a little bit tiring sometimes. It's not always going to feel like energizing. A lot of times it will, yes. But sometimes that's the nature of effort. It's still going to tire you out a little, even if you love it. What I'm sharing with you today is it's actually a bit of a critique of what a lot of the books will tell you. Because a lot of the books will say if you do what you love, you won't work a day in your life. If you do what you love, you're gonna feel energized after work rather than tired. I love jujitsu. If I go spar for an hour and I'm in there with people who are better than me and I'm fighting for my life for that hour, I'm not gonna feel energized after. Maybe my soul, my heart will feel nourished and energized in that sense. But my body, my mind, oh man, sometimes I get home after an hour of hard sparring, and even if there's food in the fridge already prepared, just getting it out of the fridge, putting it in a pan to heat it up and putting it on a plate feels like a world of work. Because of how exhausted I am. I just want to lay down and die sometimes after an hour of sparring. Does that mean I don't love jiu-jitsu? No, I do. But guess what? It's still tiring. It's still hard. Some days I'm really sore and I have to drag myself to the gym to train despite being really sore. Because I want to pursue this as a career. So I can't do it 2-3 times a week and give my body the chance to fully recover. I have to train a little bit even when I'm sore, right? So if you're trying to do anything to the level where you can make a career out of it, that means you are trying to excel very far in that thing. And you're going to have to put a good deal of work in, more than a hobbyist level. You're going to experience a little bit of resistance sometimes simply because of the nature of how much You're going to be doing that thing. There's competition out there. You can't just be kind of good at something. You have to be really good at something to make a career out of it. That's the nature of the planet that we live on with 8 billion people, is there's a lot of people that are really good at whatever you're trying to do. So you have to be really good also. And you're going to have to put a lot of time and energy in. And sometimes it's going to feel a little bit tiring. It's going to feel a little bit like work. You're not always going to be so passionate about showing up to your passions per se. This is something that I've come to realize over time. And that's okay, but it's important to know that. So you don't let your entire relationship to that thing that you love become altered over some like mind game you're playing. Like maybe today it feels like work, so I must not be like passionate about it. This must not be the thing that I should be pursuing. That's not necessarily true. Don't let that twist your mind and discourage you from walking down that path just because it feels like work sometimes. Expect it to feel like work sometimes. This is what they don't tell you about following your passions. Whoever they are, pop culture, the media, all the books that talk about following your passions. It's going to feel like work sometimes, and that's okay. Don't let that alter your relationship to it. Stay grounded in the fact that you still are very passionate about this field, this art, this career, whatever it is that you want to pursue. But know that sometimes it's going to feel like work, and that's okay. I think priming ourselves mentally to be aware of that is important to not get discouraged. A lot of people have trouble finding their passion, and that is something that's always perplexed me a bit, because in my mind, I have like 5-6 different things that I really love that I could happily pursue a career in any of those things. And I've recognized that, well, it takes a certain level of skill development to recognize that you're passionate about something. You're not going to be passionate while you're still learning it, while you suck at it, necessarily. Guys, especially in the beginning, when you're developing at least a minimal level of skill in a particular field, you're not even going to know if you're passionate about that thing, if you love it, until you get at least like half decent at it. You can't know if you love something until you've done it for maybe like 4 or 5 months. Because then you get a little bit of skill where you recognize how much you can really enjoy it. So if you're still in that stage of like trying to find things you're passionate about, this is especially important. Because that portion, that like sliding scale of how much of it feels like work and how much of it feels like passion and fun, if this is the work, once you're really good, and this is the passion and the enjoyment you get out of it, in the beginning, it's going to be inverse. This is probably going to be the amount of work that it feels like, the amount of like mental taxation and resistance that you're going to feel towards it. And this is the amount of fun you're going to feel. Like when you first start to learn how to play the piano, it's going to be very mentally taxing. It's going to be frustrating. It's going to feel like a lot of work, but you'll probably also recognize this is kind of fun too. Do it for 4 or 5 months. Watch that relationship, that ratio, do a little switcheroo. Watch that ratio change. If it doesn't change after you've developed a decent amount of skill, okay, you're probably not passionate about that thing. But if you are, it'll change. And stay aware of the fact that it's never the amount of work that it's going to feel like and the amount of resistance that you're going to experience in relationship to that thing at times. It's never going to go to zero. That desire for it to go to zero is it's a trick. It's a delusion. It's never going to happen. Sometimes it's going to feel like work. That's okay. Embrace that. That makes you better. It's healthy to actually have a little bit of that in our lives sometimes. Builds character. All right, guys, that's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to subscribe to my channel for more content like this. And I've got a couple free resources for you in the description below. There's a life audit workbook. It's a great tool. And there is a 2025 habit tracking calendar, also a great tool. So be sure to check those out and claim yours completely free if that sounds interesting to you. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more content, and I'll see you in the next one.